Hey, y'all, today on As Goode as It Gets, the podcast, we're going to give you a little bonus episode that I like to call Random Quiz.
Quiz quotes.
Quiz quotes. Random quotes from Quiz. From daggone it. Elmo Fudd is in the house. One more time. Random quotes from Cris.
All while having a whole lot of fun.
Cue the music. Hi, and welcome back to As Goode as It Gets, the podcast, Season 1, Episode 10.
I'm Cris.
And I'm Mikey.
And welcome to our virtual kitchen table as we wrap up this season with a bonus episode.
Because when you go to somebody's table for a meal, what comes at the end? Dessert. So we're going to give you something a little sweet today. We're going to do...
I don't know about that. But...
Oh, I think it's awesome. You see, my wife is full of wisdom, and she's definitely full of
something.
She's full of words. And you ever just had one of those times where you remember, man, you said something really funny or really profound or really something that it's stuck with you enough to remember that they said something good or repeat worthy, but then you didn't write it down, so you can't remember exactly how they said it. Well, I have fixed that problem.
Most of the time, I've said something that you find to be
hilarious,
funny, or that you finally pushed enough buttons that I've broke.
Yep.
So that's what this is all about, I guess.
Because I just found that some of the things that you say are worth writing down. And so I started a list a while back, and just every once in a while, I mean, once every couple weeks, or there was a time where it was like once every couple days, and you would say something that would just strike me as mostly as funny, but things that you had said, and there were some that I had found that you had said and I had documented earlier before I even started this list. I've got like 22 different quotes from Cris, and if you saw this in the last episode, you heard the one where she said, I think you may need to spend some time with Jesus, and if you keep talking like that, I might just send you straight to him. And so I decided that for this last podcast of the season, a little dessert for our Crock Posse, that I would just read you some random quotes that you have said and have you explain them.
I'm not sure I can explain them all. Most of the time, they're being said out of duress, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let's do an example.
Okay.
Here we go. You ready?
Yes.
This is a good one. I love this one.
I'm a little scared.
Here, I'll pretend that I'm not listening when you tell me I'm right.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Explain that one.
I think that this boils down to when we've talked about the way we communicate in marriage. It was not very early on, but early enough on that I realized that oftentimes we would be talking and it would be more about who's going to win and who's going to lose than it is about resolving the situation. And so for you, because it goes to the game, the video game analogy, where I realized that you would play video games for hours on end just to get to the end so that the person would say, you are victorious.
There was, I think it was Command and Conquer.
Oh
and
my
in
gosh.
Command and Conquer, when you would get to the end, if you beat the level, the round, whatever it was, it would bring up this thing, and this woman's voice would get on there and say, you are victorious. And I loved it.
Like, I just was like, you've spent hours just to hear that. So that was a clue as
it was to defeat the enemy. It wasn't just it was to win.
So the premise behind that quote that you captured of me was, I'm not interested in who's winning as much as I am about us resolving it. So you can go ahead and I won't listen while you tell me I'm right, but let's go ahead and get this resolved.
Let's just get this done and over with.
Yes.
Yeah, you just wanted me to say that you were victorious. I know what it was. Here we go. Your driving the new truck has really helped my prayer life.
Yes. That's called we put our eggs in a basket and then gave you the keys to the basket.
We bought the new truck to haul the trailer around.
Yes, and so as we were making plans for all of these things, you being excited about it wasn't a new truck, it was a new to us truck that we bought. But anyhow, you being really excited about having your truck and me being like, okay, but we need to be fragile with it or treat it with care, because it was what was going to tow the trailer and everything else. And so yeah, I think I just got to the point. I can remember when we were dating and we went somewhere with your parents in the car and you were driving in that big car that you had,
that behemoth,
and we were riding down the road, and every curve everybody's like slamming to the side and the other side.
Oh my gosh, it wasn't that bad.
Yes, it was. And I remember them looking at them, and they were just as terrified as I was, and I was just like, oh wow. So like so anyhow, at that point, you don't know this, I decided that whenever I could not handle you're looking at me with your mouth wide open. When I couldn't handle things, that I would just close my eyes and pray and literally do the whole Jesus take the wheel thing. Because like you have to trust your partner to drive and all that kind of stuff.
Now, I did know that you were praying, because I do remember noticing, I'd look over and like every time I'd be driving somewhere, you'd have your eyes closed. I'm like, man, she sleeps a lot when I drive.
No.
And then I remember asking, like, or maybe it was that I thought she's either praying or she gets really car sick.
Yeah, there is that too, but
or she's sleeping or she's really car sick.
When it becomes too much, I just go, okay, there's nothing I can do about it. God, this is in your hands, and I close my eyes.
Wow, I am not that bad of a driver. Okay, moving on. I've like some of these on the list, I've like written out, what the context was around, but I'm not going to do, let's see if you can get this one. You don't even get that excited about my butt, just saying.
Oh, this is about Octavius. Well, first of all, I'm sorry, everybody. But secondly, Octavius is our little 10-pound Yorkie who... The story goes,
he's our camper puppy.
You did not even want, like when I said, I want to get this dog.
Well, it's not that I didn't want you to get a dog. I mean,
you didn't want a Yorkie. You didn't want a little dog.
I definitely didn't want a little dog, because we had little dogs in the past, and it didn't work out. And then you're like, I really just want a lap dog. I want a Yorkie. And I'm like, no, one, they cost money, and two, no, I don't want a little bitty dog. Give me a dog. Give me a
so we got a dog.
Yeah. So I remember,
or we got a Yorkie.
I remember driving home from work.
Oh,
and
you tell this story wrong.
Hey, because I had told her on the way to work, I'm like, no, you're not getting a dog. Simple as that. Put my foot down. Not going to happen. On the way home, I'm like, hey, what's up? You're like, oh, I'm on my way back with the dog.
That's not exactly that's a story you tell, but that is not how we work.
I put my foot down, you slid my foot over, put your foot down, and got your way.
Well, that might have happened, but I didn't just do it without us being on the same page. So I went and I got Octavius, and fairly shortly after bringing him home, Octavius is my dog.
Yeah.
But he is so your dog. Like, you fell head over heels.
It took me a whole whopping maybe 10 seconds to meet this dog. Octavius
isn't your typical Yorkie. I don't know what your experience is, but many people have told us that he truly acts like a lab in a little dog. Like he's like very.
It's because of the name.
Yeah, well,
he's a great big dog in a little bitty body.
He thinks he's a big dog. But anyhow, so that particular quote is because when you come home from work or you come home from anywhere, you and Octavius have this massive love fest that is like, you usually end up laying down on the ground and he's climbing up on you and you love on him and you give him you scratch his back, and I think at that particular moment you were scratching his butt and talking to him, and I was like, what are you doing? Please stop.
Here's what happens.
Yes.
Like if we hadn't seen each other for a while, me and the dog.
Yes.
Or we haven't had a lovin's, because we always give each other lovin's once a day. And usually I'm on the couch, not on the floor. But I'll sit on the couch and he'll sit and wait for me to put the recliner back, and when the legs come up, and then as soon as he won't jump on the couch until you put the legs up, because he wants a challenge, I guess. So then he jumps up, and I'll pat myself on the chest, say, come here and give me a hug. And he'll come all the way up there and lay on my chest and just sprawl way out. And he'll give me a little hug.
A doggy hug.
And then I'll start at his head, and I'll scratch his head. Then I'll go to his neck, make sure and scratch underneath his collar. And then I make my way down his back. And then when I get to his haunches, not his butt, but because, that dogs, as they get older, they get... Right. They can be arthritic.
Particularly Yorkies,
yeah,
too.
their rear ends get sore.
The vet always talks about.
And so it's always good to massage your dog, and to kind of, okay, that sounds so wrong. It's good to.
I think we should go to the next.
Good
quote.
to relax the muscles. So I was scratching, and I was sorry. I'm reliving this moment in my head, and I'm scratching the top of his backside.
It's not just that you scratch, it's that you talk to him.
Well, if you see the dog's face when I do it, he just kind of sticks his head up in the air like he was getting the best back scratching in the world.
Oh my goodness.
And so I make sound effects as we talk, and then you're like, oh my gosh, you don't even get that excited about my butt.
Because it sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. I'm starting to creep people out with my love fest for my dog.
Yes.
Okay. This one might be a difficult one for you. Because, again, there's a whole explanation behind it. I just want to see if you remember it. Are you ready?
Oh, gosh.
Because this is going to sound extremely violent.
Oh, my gosh.
I'd shoot you in the head.
Oh, I know what this is.
What is it?
This is whenever you asked me, because we watched The Walking Dead.
Yes.
And you asked me, what would I do if you were a zombie? And I'd be like, and I just point blank said, well, I'd shoot you in the head, because that's what you do to the zombies. But also because, it's very clear in the show, and it's very emotional in the show when that happens. But it is an act of mercy to a loved one to shoot them in the head. It sounds so awful if you're not a Walking Dead fan, so I'm sorry. But it's an act of mercy, because otherwise your loved one continues on tormented. And so that's why the loved ones take it upon themselves, and it usually is the loved one that wants to do that for their loved one. So it's an act of love on the show, but you make it sound like I'm just going around saying I'm gonna shoot you or something. But it was an endearing moment.
Yeah, it felt so endearing because the look on your face when you said it.
Well, yeah, I'd shoot you in the head. What do you mean?
Oh yeah, I'd shoot you in the head. Okay. Oh, I'll save that one for later. That one's good too.
Oh my
goodness. Look at me and my good ideas. I tend to have those from time to time.
Well, that could have been any number of
Well, it
things.
was just you being right about something again. There are a lot of those. There was one. We're both winners here when you come around to my way of thinking.
I don't know what this. I sound awful. This is this is your Chris's mean file.
That was a debate that we were having, a very spirited debate where I was right, you were right, and you were, and a lot of times, most of the time, almost all the time, you are right. So you've taken those experiences and just through law of averages said I'm probably right here, so you just might as well agree with me. And you usually are.
Oh, now
here's a good one.
I sound awful. I'm sorry.
Now, this is a fun looking back on it.
I'm not sure we should be reading this file.
This is a fun one. With the story. I just gonna see if you can remember what the story comes from.
Okay.
You are like the comedy channel for God.
I think that's what sometime you had harmed yourself yet again on something.
I did.
Because sometimes it's like watching and going no, don't do that. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do it. Kind of like watching a scary movie, but almost like a comedy kind of thing. Oh, he's not going to do that again. And so I forget what you did.
What this comes from is you were gone all day. I think you and Addie were both gone. I don't know. I don't remember what you guys were doing, but like I had the house to myself all day. And I like to eat, but if I'm by myself, I normally won't until I'm like ravagingly hungry. And since we started this low carb thing, it's not like, I mean, usually we snack more than we have meals and stuff like that. But if I don't eat all day, there comes a point where my body's like, okay, you're either fasting and not telling me, or you really need to get something to eat. So you start getting creative in your head. What can I make? It's got to be lots of protein. And so I start looking around. I see a pound of ground beef. I'm like, okay, boom, got my protein. Ooh, we have bacon. So I got more protein. And then I'm like, what can I do I kind of want pizza, but I don't want the crust. I kind of want spaghetti, but I don't want the noodles. What can I do here? And then I came up in my head with this dish, and it was a bacon wrapped Italian meatloaf kind of thing. And like the meat.
Now everybody's going to want the recipe.
I'm going to have to go back and try to figure out how to make it again, because it was like in my head. It wasn't a recipe I'd ever seen. So you take the ground beef and you mix it with a bunch of Italian spices, salt, pepper, stuff like that. And then you wrap it in bacon and you pan sear the bacon so it shrinks up. And then you bake it for a while. So it's kind of like a meatloaf without all the, without the egg and stuff like that. It was just pretty much just a giant hamburger, really. Mm-hmm. But it's cooked in like a log style. And then after it's cooked for a few minutes, then you go back and you take that low carb Italian sauce, marinara, whatever, with the chunk of tomatoes in it and everything. I'm getting hungry now thinking about it. I got to remember how to make it. And then you pour that over it and then put it back in the oven, let it all heat up to where it's nice and hot. And then I made some zoodles, which are zucchini noodles you make through a little machine that shreds it up into noodles, and put that over the zoodles and ate it like that. And it was like one of the most amazing things I'd ever eaten in my life. One, I was really hungry, so anything was going to taste good. And two, it was really good.
Well, right now it sounds like God's watching the Food Network, not the Comedy Channel. So I'm not sure what happened.
Well, in order to keep the toothpicks wrapped firmly around, to keep the bacon wrapped firmly around the meat as it's cooking, you got to put toothpicks in it. And I had miscounted how many toothpicks that I had put in this log, and I cook it up, and then of course I take a sample bite of it. And again, I'm really hungry. Hadn't eaten all day. I took a bite, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like the most amazing thing. I put some Parmesan cheese over it, and it was perfect. Take a bite of it, and I'm like, holy cow, I'm going to town on this thing. So I cut it, and I pulled out a toothpick and ate a portion of it. And I'm like, man, I'm going back for seconds. So then I cut off another piece, and I start eating, throw this huge bite in my mouth and start chewing, and I'm like getting stabbed in the mouth. And I'm like, ow, what in the world? I'm like, and I had it like a toothpick got like sideways lodged in my mouth. And then I go and tell you, I'm like, yeah, I was so hungry that I almost choked myself on a toothpick. Because that is a comedy
thing. Like, I'm so hungry, and like, seriously, dude, like, there's a toothpick in there.
And you are like the Comedy Channel for God.
Yes, but I think that comes at the rest of the thing, because a lot of times when you go to do things, we get a big kick out of things afterwards.
Yeah,
because of #thebull.
Okay, so let's find another one here. There's so many good ones. There's a couple on here I'm probably not going to do because I might get in trouble for.
That would probably be advised.
But here's a good. I love you. I also love bacon.
My guess is that was probably said when you had either promised to bake bacon or make bacon, or probably when I have made bacon and I'm trying to build up a reserve and you've eaten all my bacon. So I was just professing my dual citizenship in those two camps, but lay off the bacon, buddy.
Yeah.
So
I have a tendency whenever you make the bacon, though, to eat it all
before
you can even get it out of the pan. I'm going after it.
And bacon, let's just be honest, bacon is kind of a pain to make. So like that's why instead of like making bacon every morning or just when we need it, I like to set aside some time and bake up a whole bunch or fry in the air fryer a whole bunch so that I don't have to like do it on a regular basis, because it is like, I find it to be not fun to do.
Yeah.
So, you know, we'll take turns of who's going to make the bacon or whatever. But
And that's, I like to bake it in bulk,
yes.
you know, or fry it in bulk, however we make it. I
Yes.
like to, I'll do 2 or 3 pounds at a time, and then we'll keep it in the
Yes.
fridge so we won't have to, because, yeah, that's
Yes.
not fun to clean up.
And my mom recently gave us her microwave tray, which is kind of an easy, like, what I would consider a Band-Aid for the bacon need.
Yeah.
Like, if you're
you need it
completely
right
out
then.
and you need it right then, the microwave will work. But if you're trying to make up a whole bunch, like, it's better to just throw them on the bacon pans and put them in the oven, or throw them in the air fryer, because we like doing that while we're camping. But yeah, lay off the bacon, dude.
All right. This is one of the first quotes I ever put down, but to me it was hilarious. All you are ever really afraid of are tampons and spiders.
I think that boils down to, like, I don't know the context in which that was said, other than you probably had gotten in my purse, and
That's
people
exactly what
get
happened.
on to you for getting in my purse. But no, like, I had asked him to get in my purse for something, and like, you react to feminine products the same way you react to spiders. Like, oh my gosh, I've touched this thing that's in a package that like it blows my mind. Like, sometimes I'm like, how old are you? But no, spiders too. So,
Oh, I'm terrified of spiders. Here we just got back from Texas, and at some point we're going to definitely go back and see the western side of Texas. And then, so we're doing more research.
well, let's talk a minute about, and it's not just Texas. This is just in general. Like, when you watch like safety videos for anything, like in the travel realm of things, like it could be like what to do if you encounter a bear, or what to do if you encounter a spider, or you know, what should you be aware of in the area. Like, if you watch videos or read sites about those kinds of things, like, by the time you're done watching or reading, like, you want to curl up into the fetal position and hide, because it's like what if I forget that this kind of bear, I'm supposed to act this way or that kind of thing. But no, we always joke about when we watch videos like that it's like, it's supposed to be for your safety, but in the middle of it, you're just like, oh my gosh, like, this is,
Well,
and so we were watching those types of videos, and like, they were telling what spiders were like more dangerous than other spiders.
Yeah.
I don't think he really cares,
Doesn't
like,
matter.
where
If
they
it's got 8
fall on the
legs, it'll eat you.
spectrum. He was like, I'm not, I mean, it was quite funny to watch you watch that. But
it's okay. Here's the thing about camera angle is, and zoom. This spider is probably, no bigger than maybe a 50-cent piece or $1.
Oh, really?
With its legs. I don't know.
I thought they were like the size of their hand.
You're not helping me want to go back, okay? But when they zoom in on it, and
right,
it takes
and you
up,
can see all the hairs on it.
Okay.
No, I knew.
But they make the spider look like it's the
Right.
size of your television.
Let's be clear. I don't exactly like spiders, but I've had to get over that dislike, because I always tell the story of, there was, when we first started dating, we went to your mom's house, and your mom and I were folding laundry in your mom's spare bedroom. Do you recall this? And I don't know what happened. Well, I know what happened. Like, apparently a spider from somewhere made itself known to the two of you, unbeknownst to me. And you would have thought that like masked robbers had come into that room and had us at gunpoint, the way the two of you were screaming, and I had no idea what was going on, and eventually figured it out that there was a spider in the room. And so you come by it very honest.
You were my hero and killed the spider.
And I am
day.
the spider killer in the house.
Yes, you are.
But that video told us that those spiders were protected, so we couldn't even kill those spiders.
You know what?
Saying.
I'm more protected than that spider. I don't care.
Oh, no.
Moving on. You are the dude that they make internet memes about.
I'm guessing that came from some crazy outfit you probably were wearing.
It said what I wrote down was her after I'd evidently done something clumsy or stupid.
No, that's not. I think it's like it is literally below 0 right now in Indiana, and right now you're wearing pajama pants.
Yeah.
But earlier today,
well, it's the evening. It's time to wind down.
Earlier today, you went outside in shorts.
Well,
yes.
I wasn't going to be out there for long.
It doesn't matter. And you went outside in shorts. And so, like, there have been many a times where I kind of remember you weren't doing something. You were just being, like, the dude in the shorts, I think.
I think, if I remember right, this one might have been when I was on the stump playing my guitar in a chicken
there's that
suit.
too. Like, it's like, yeah. Or it could have been when you were wearing the ballerina outfit alongside the road.
Well, I look good
like,
in that.
So it could have been any number of
my
things.
legs look good.
But yes, you are ripe for the meme content.
Don't try to out-geek me.
Oh, that could be anything.
It was a Star Trek thing.
Oh, it was?
We were referencing something about Star Trek, and you had referenced something, and I was like, no. or we were trading Star Trek comments, and I'm not a big Star Trek fan.
I'm not either.
You're bigger than me, though.
But we,
Yeah, but like I couldn't, when it comes, okay, Doctor Who, for instance, I definitely could. You would, if there was a Doctor Who trivia, you would destroy me.
Right.
But now if there was like an Avengers trivia, Marvel comics, anything to do with that, I would so take you down.
Yes.
That's right.
You can have that honor, dear.
What's Iron Man's real name?
Tony Stark.
Oh, that sounds so hot when you say it like that. Let's see here. Let me find another. This one's just for entertainment purposes. Really, there's no quizzing you about this, but
oh my goodness.
To know my wife is to know that she doesn't like silly humor, like stupid humor. She doesn't like, we've already told you that, she's not a fan of slapstick or things of that nature. So when every once in a while I'll see her do something that catches her whimsy, it's very entertaining. Like, do you remember, and this totally in here, but it's bringing back another fond memory of the site Darn You Autocorrect, or like you would see people and then you would see the autocorrect stuff, and to listen to her cackle in laughter over the dumbest things that autocorrect would make people say when they didn't mean to.
Right. So that does entertain me, because it's not like someone purposefully trying to. It's like it happenstance. Oh, sorry.
But this is last year around Christmas time.
Uh-oh.
We're sitting there on the couch, and we're just on our phones. I'm probably playing Bubble Pop or something.
That's
on
what
my
I
phone.
call
That's what you
all
call
of
any
his
game that I play on my phone.
I'm
is
like,
Bubble
quit
Pop.
playing Bubble Pop and take the trash
and
out.
you're on your phone, and you're usually working or interacting with the Crock Posse or with your readers or whatever.
Right.
And all of a sudden you bust out laughing. I said, "What is it?"
Uh-oh.
And she says, "Your elf name is Pixie Glitterballs." So she was spending time on one of those clickbait things where it tells you what your elf name is when you put in what's the first letter of your first name, your middle initial, and your street address. So
you caught me on an off moment.
It was great though. Let's do one or two more.
I can't believe that made the file.
It came up in my, how Facebook does in your memories, and I quoted you on. I'm like, oh, that's got to go in, because your laugh. I love when you laugh about something, like a genuine something just strikes you as funny, and that did. You just thought it was hilarious. That I'm now forever known as Pixie Glitterballs. Look at me and my good ideas. I tend to have those from time to time.
You already did that one.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, it was just a really
I had
good
another one. I'm sorry. This makes makes me sound so, I don't know.
I think it makes you sound hilarious.
I don't know. I'm sorry, guys.
You ready?
Yeah.
We're a unicorn.
I don't know what the context of that one is, but we definitely are.
I think it's when we kind of found that what we had was unique in a way that, you know.
Like, you can spend your whole life trying to fit in and then realize that the point is to be yourself. And I think that that's kind of what we kind of realize. Like, you get lots of advice, and not that any of it's or that it's bad advice, but whenever you're trying to do things online or a website or a YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff, and people are like, you should do it this way, kind of thing.
Right.
And there are times where that advice is really, really helpful and helps you kind of find how to kind of make what you're doing kind of like gain more momentum. And then there's times where it can make you kind of question, well, okay, a perfect example, if we're just going to get real here, is that in the food world, quickie videos, food videos are like all the rage. And we've done some. Where it's like just the camera overhead over the hands of the person making the food. And a lot of audiences really, really enjoy that. But our food show is not that.
No.
Primarily. And when it comes to what we want to create, and at least for now, not that we may not do that more later, but at least for now, when we were talking about what we wanted to do, like creatively and all that kind of stuff, it wasn't to do the thing that most other people are doing. And there's nothing wrong with doing, I mean, we've done them and we know lots of really successful people. I mean, it is a recipe for success to do it that way. But that's not what we were kind of drawn to, and we have our Crock Posse audience, and I think if we just like completely stopped doing Cooking Chris's dishes and went to all quickie videos, and I don't think that's what our key audience wants from us either. So my point, I guess, a lot of times is that we're a unicorn, meaning... And not that everyone else isn't a unicorn in some form or fashion, but we're a unicorn. So sometimes you just gotta, sometimes it's okay to be different and that we definitely are.
Definitely that. Well, I mean, as folks have got to know us over the season and those who already do from sticking with us, some from the very, very beginning, you know, you're a creative for sure. You are definitely a creator. And, you know, RTC, that's short for recipes.crock.com. You know, you created that. It started from Goodness Gracious, you know, which started from, you know, all these other ventures that got you to where you're at. I'm a creator. I like to do fun things. I love to do music. I love, you know, I like endearing things at times. You know, I like to make things pretty. I like to, you know, I definitely like to speak life, you know, into you, into Addie, into our Crock Posse. And when you can put two creators together, to jump in and then take it even further, and those two creators are a married couple, and they're also best friends, and they're pretty good business partners, and are crazy about each other. It's like, it's honestly, and I don't mean to make this sound so good that it's not real, because it really is. We are a unicorn because it's like the perfect combination of everything we need.
The perfect storm. It's a kind of like it's a force, kind of like what we were talking about when we first got together. There's kind of like a, you know, and so you can try to wrangle that and make that what everyone else is doing, or try and make it fit more conform. But I think we've just, as we've went along and as we've tried to kind of really pay attention to where we want to go, we've realized it's okay to be different, and that sometimes your strength is just being yourself. And so that's where that came from, I guess.
Yeah. And that's the fun part is we can just be ourselves doing this. See, you were going to say perfect storm. I was thinking like the perfect recipe.
Oh.
Going back to
always,
recipes.crock.com.
Yes.
I'm such a good spokesman for that, you know?
I think so. Maybe I should hire you.
Yeah. Let me show you my resume. All right, let's do one more and wrap this up because this is dessert. So dessert's a little shorter, and well, frankly, I need to get to work on putting this all up so y'all can be listening to this.
Chop chop.
So we're.
I feel like you're about to do something you don't think you should do.
Well, it's like you know me well. Okay, you know how she knew that before I even said anything? My cheekbones.
Yes.
She ever since even when we started dating, she could tell when I was up to something because she said that my cheekbones would do something weird.
Yeah, you can tell. I can tell when you're about to do something you know you shouldn't because the cheekbones raise just a little bit here. You're even getting some little wrinkles there now from all of that cheekbone.
That's age. that's just age. All right, I'll leave you with this
Michael
one.
Goode?
I've there's three. There's three I'm looking at, and I'm just going for one here. And this is said with exclamation.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
You do not own my showers.
Oh, why are you making me explain this? Okay. Ladies, bear with me here. I think that most, especially moms, can relate to the fact that all day long, other humans want something from you. And a lot of times, you know, you're like helping the kiddo blow their nose or you're preparing someone's meals and all that kind of stuff. And you finally make it to bedtime. Kiddo goes to bed and at least or in the morning or you may be getting up in the morning to do your shower. But I usually try to take my showers in the evening. And I will tell you, when you make it to that finish line, it's like I've made it to the finish. I've made it through the day. I've done all the things that need to be done, or I've done all the things to survive to this point. And it's a moment of relaxation and a moment to kind of be like, okay, I've made it. So, and there was a time in our household in which my dear husband thought that for some reason, when I finally made it to that finish line, that he should be invited to the shower. I can't believe I'm even saying this. And my whole thing is, and so he would get upset if he found out that I had taken my shower and I was like walking around with my towel on my head and well, you didn't tell me you were taking your shower. And I'm just like, dude, like I have earned the shower, back off. Like.
And you said?
And I said, you don't own them. I do. Like I'm bought and paid for those showers through making it through the day. And so I cannot believe you are making me talk about this. But yeah, so I just was kind of like drawing a line in the sand and saying, everyone, I need my space. Give me some space.
We thank you guys for joining us this season.
You just made me say that.
I can't believe you actually went through with it.
Well, what was I supposed to say?
How about thank you? Thank you for all y'all who've listened this entire season to As Good As It Gets, the podcast. Again, I'm Mikey, and that's Cris, and we are the owners of recipes.crock.com, which is the website making all this possible. We thank you guys for going over there and checking out our around 1,000 recipes to choose from to make dinner for your families, make dessert for your families, make drinks for your families. There's all kinds of stuff over there, so go check out recipes.crock.com. We also want to thank our patrons over at patreon.com/recipes.crock. Our Crock partners and everybody over there that are our patrons that are making this possible. The very microphone that I'm talking into right now was purchased because of the support from our patrons there. If you want to check out ways that you could support this channel, the Recipes That Crock site, As Good As It Gets, the Crock Posse itself, then definitely check us out over at patreon.com/recipes-that-crock. We thank you all once again. This was so much fun. I want to say it was fun because we've never done a podcast before. Honestly, I think it's fun because we got to take some time to sit down and talk and kind of take a break away from the laptops and everything else and just turn on a camera and a microphone and chit-chat about the past, the present, and the future of what we're going to do here on the Great Goode Adventure.
Yes, and so if you are watching on YouTube or on the listening on the podcast and you have either questions or topics that you think might be fun for us to cover in the future, you can pop us an email or comment down below on the video. By the time that this last episode hits YouTube, we probably will have a plan in place for what's going to happen next. And I don't know.
We might even already have the next season out. We don't know.
Who knows?
We're trying to figure that out, but that will be possible by y'all giving us feedback on what you thought about this, whether you liked it, whether you didn't, what was good, what was bad. We need to know because we're doing this for you, and we want to make something that's enjoyable for you and the entire family. We definitely want to do something that's speaking life into you every time that we get behind a microphone or in front of a camera. It's not just about us anymore. This is definitely about you guys. So thank you again for tuning in with us. Thank you for watching us on the YouTubes. You can check out everything on our YouTube channel by going to As Goode As It Gets. That's as GOODE as it gets.com. That will redirect you to our YouTube channel where you can see everything from the podcast to the travel, to the recipes, to the funnies, to the music, to the lives, to whatever we're doing. You'll be there. We'll also give links down below in the description as well as the notes of the show on how to find us through our email addresses, through our Facebook group that if you haven't joined in on, you really should because it's a lot of fun over there. And again, that's a wrap for our first season. Thank you for agreeing to be a part of this. And thank you. I'm looking at Cris when I say that. I'm looking at Cris. Thank you, Cris. We also want to thank Bob Ross for joining us again. For all those you're watching on YouTube, hopefully by the next season he'll have real chia hair.
We'll see.
I think me and Addie are gonna take care of that in a video sometime. But peace out. We thank you. Say bye.
Bye.
It's time to hit the showers. Cue the music.